Hi there, Jesse here with etrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at and I'll show you how to install the etrailer custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2012 Jeep Wrangler. These Jeeps are super popular. They're really known for being adventure vehicles, for off-roading or just camping or anything like that. So it's always nice to be able to add some extra storage to the rear of it, and a hitch is going to allow you to do that. It's going to allow you to add on extra storage via a cargo carrier or a bike rack, and you can even do some towing with your Jeep. Here's a closer look at our hitch installed on our Jeep here. There's no cross tubes, so all you'll be seeing is the receiver opening, and I really like the way this matte black finish looks with this black plastic here. The receiver opening is a 2" by 2". That's going to be your standard for most accessories. Then behind that is also standard a 5/8" pinhole. The pin and clip are not included with the hitch. However, we have many options available here at etrailer. Also, any accessory that you add on will most likely come with one included. Then we have some safety cable loops here. Super easy to get whatever style safety cable you have. For example, this large clevis here, or an S-style like this. Now for some measurements for our ground clearance, the Jeep does sit pretty high. So from the ground to the top of the inside of the collar is about 19.5 inches. That's pretty good height. You shouldn't have to worry about ground clearance at all. However, if you're looking to hook up to a trailer, you might want something with a slight drop to it. Then from the center of the pinhole, and we'll measure from the outside of the spare tire here, is about 7 inches. Jeeps always have their spare tire mounted here, so it's something you got to worry about when you're looking into folding accessories. Just look for something that has a longer shank to it to ensure that when you fold it up, it won't get in the way of the spare tire. For the weight capacities of this hitch, we have a gross trailer weight of 5,000 pounds. That's the amount of weight that you can pull behind the vehicle. And then we have a maximum tongue weight of 500 pounds. That's the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. You do have the option to use weight distribution with this hitch. However, both those numbers will stay the same. And also be sure to check your Jeep's owner's manual to ensure that your Wrangler can handle that weight safely. All in all, I think a hitch is a great addition to a Jeep Wrangler. I'm honestly surprised they don't come with one from the factory. And I really like the way the matte black finish of this hitch looks against that black plastic on the bumper. As for the installation, it's really a simple process. You may have to lower the exhaust down just to make some room to get the bolts into place, but other than that, it's just a matter of lifting the hitch up and sliding some bolts through. If it's not something that you're looking to do yourself, maybe you don't have the time, the space, or the tools to do so, feel free to check out our dealer locator. If you are looking to get this hitch installed yourself, then follow along and I'll show you how we set up ours. Also, if you have installed this hitch before and you just want to share some tips or tricks, or maybe you just want to share some photos of what you're using your hitch for, then feel free to leave a review or a comment. We'll begin our installation by getting our exhaust lowered down. You don't necessarily have to, it's just going to make things a lot easier. And what I did before is, this Jeep's pretty old, so there's some rust built up, so I sprayed some soapy water on our hangers here. Hopefully that makes it a little easier. I'm just going to use a pry bar, prying against the isolator and the frame, and work on getting this popped off. Another thing is to make sure that you have the exhaust supported by something like a cam strap. It's just going to help us safely lower it without damaging the exhaust. It does help to have an exhaust hanger tool like this, but you should be able to get it with a pry bar. We'll just get that most of the way off, then we should be able to get it by hand. Alright, so that hanger's loose. We're going to work on the passenger side now. And we have one more a little farther forward on the vehicle. With that pop loose, we can see that we have a little bit of wiggle room to move our exhaust around, and we can loosen our strap up a little bit. One thing I do recommend before you get the hitch lifted up into place, just run your hardware through all 4 of your holes. Make sure that it actually fits through both sides. Because in our instance, we did run into a couple of holes that weren't quite large enough. So I just brought a drill bit in and ran it through. I'll show you how. I just ran it through all the way to our rear hole and just kind of worked around just to get that metal spread out just a little bit, and I double checked, made sure our bolts would slide through, so now we're ready to lift our hitch up. We'll get our hardware ready, at least 2 bolts, and make sure you have a washer slid on both of them. But all we have to do is line up with our 4 holes on our bumper and get our bolts slid through. I'll do one on each side, that'll hold it up so I can get the rest of the hardware on. To get our nut into place, it is kind of a tight fit, so one thing I do is I painter's tape the back side of it. That'll kind of help me hold it so I don't have to worry about it falling. And then we'll draw our bolt back a little bit, and you can kind of use the wrench to pry the bumper back to get that bolt clear, but once you get it in place, you should be able to spin that bolt on. And then we'll do that with the rest of our hardware. Now we'll take that same wrench, a 3/4 inch wrench, and a matching socket, and get our hardware tightened down. Now we need to torque our hardware down to the specification listed in the instructions. If you don't have your own torque wrench, we do have many options available here at eTrailer, or you could always rent one from your local auto parts store. So I'll just go through, get all 4 of our bolts torqued down. Once you have the hardware torqued down, all that's left is to raise the exhaust back up if you did take it down. Otherwise, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the eTrailer custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2012 Jeep Wrangler.